So I was stripping out the car and I got to the point of removing the steering column, and that is all pretty much per the manual, but there was one part where it says remove the shear bolts, and there's no real instructions on that, and I was looking around and it looked like a bunch of people had the same kind of questions, so I made a little, like a side video, quick video on how to remove the shear bolts for the ignition switch on the steering column. Okay, so I'm going to make a side video about the shear bolts on the steering column on the ignition. So I've got that out, I got that out, the whole front out, and now I'm going to have to undo these two shear bolts, undo those two shear bolts so that I can take the ignition out. So what it is the bolt part is actually up here, and there's a flat, and then so when you tighten it, the flat hits, and then you over tighten it, and the flat doesn't allow it to progress any further, and then it breaks off, and it's a theft thing. So yeah, I'll just give it a shot. Alright, so I've made myself comfortable. My feet are on the back deck lid. Let's see if that'll come into focus. So there are the screws. I loosened the clamp, and I put some rubber in there, and I flipped it 180. And hold on, I'm feeling on my chest. I don't know if you can see, I've got a little chisel, so I chiseled in straight, and then I chiseled in 90 to kind of get a divot going, and now I'm just tapping that around. And it's slowly coming, this groove started up there, so it's going. So I'll continue this. Hopefully I don't have to get it easy out. That's the backup, but I'm just going to keep chiseling. I don't think I can chisel and hold this on my chest and tap. Who knows? Maybe I'll put it on my chest and it'll work. We'll see. I doubt it. I don't think that's working. Oh, it's all in my eye. Alright, well, now you can see that that chisel mark is now gone to 12 o'clock, so I'm just going to keep doing this. The unfortunate thing is it all is going right in my eyes. So I'm going to continue. Hold on, I lost it. I'm going to continue and let you know how it goes. Alright, so I'm back, and once I got it through about 270 degrees, it's now loose and hand tight. Oh, and I let this soak overnight in PB Blaster. I put a couple drops in. So I'm just going to get this out by hand and do the other one. Alright, so I got it out, and after having done it, here are the tips I would recommend. First, go get yourself a small chisel. Some little small punch type chisel I got, I don't know, Lowe's, Harbor Freight, I've had this for a while. So you flip, you loosen all the stuff in the steering column like they tell you to. I don't know if you can see it, but you flip your steering column 180. I jammed some folded rubber that I cut under there to lock it in place. So now you're working on your ignition underneath. So now you're looking up at it. Before you start, and I didn't do this, this is how I learned. Before you start with your chisel, put four marks, 3, 6, 9, and 12, before it's loose. Do that, maybe even every 60 degrees. Because what happened is, once you turn the first one through like 180 degrees, this one comes loose, and it's really easy. The first one comes loose. So then you're like, oh, this is great, and you start taking it out. But what happens is, when you go to do the second one, so now this one's out and it's still tight. This one is still tight. Then as soon as you take this one out, it starts to fall off the shaft, the steering column, and then it impinges on that screw. Shit, I just dropped it. It impinges on that screw that's left, and it's hard to get out. So then that's why it's good to pre-do your divots with your chisel first, and then they're already there, because what was happening is I was trying to put the divots in, and now it's loose on the column, and it's like sliding, you know, like around the column, and I was chasing the screw. Then once I did get it out, it was all bent and caught, and it didn't want to come out. So the other trick is, when you're taking the second one out, squeeze the whole assembly together with your hand, with the one hand, and then work the screw with your chisel with the divots you've already done with your other hand. And that's it. Otherwise it was pretty straightforward. The screws aren't under a lot of tension. It's a coarse thread, and I had put some PB Blaster on them overnight before I started, and they came out very easily after you did it the first 180. So that's that.